Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another video on how to make a pour over. We're gonna make a pour over today. So I have generally like pour over coffees. We'd use like coffee from a third wave coffee shop that roasts usually the medium profile. But today we are gonna actually use Cafe Du Monde. It's more of like a dark roast profile. Generally, like you can make a pour over out of any type of coffee. So yeah, we're using Cafe Du Monde, and then we are using the Kalita method. This is a Kalita 155. So it's there's a 185 version, which is a lot bigger, but this is good for like a single cup. Honestly, you can use also like a V60. There's the different models that it's like a spectrum of different pour over methods. Chemex, it goes down the line, but this is my favorite because it's really small and it's nice. Get the appropriate filter for it. This is the 155 filter. You can just slap that in there. Just let it nestle in there. So before we start our pour over, you want to make sure you wet the filter, because the filter actually does kind of leave like a taste if you don't wash it out. You're gonna also heat up your vessel anyway, so I pour the amount of water that will cover at least like a quarter of an inch at the bottom of the cup to warm up the cup. You don't want hot water to come into contact with the cold surface, otherwise it'll go into shock. And so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and boil my water. And so I'm gonna go ahead and transfer our water into our kettle. This is a gooseneck kettle. You can buy this literally on Amazon. I bought mine on Amazon. It was like 17 bucks, pretty cheap. So go ahead, boom. I like to fill up. I like to overcompensate because you never want to run out of water when you're doing a pour over, because it's just very time sensitive. Like you never want your coffee bed to run dry. Oops. You never want your coffee bed to run dry, and it's just a very intricate process. All right. So like I mentioned earlier, I want to wet the filter. I kind of just pour in directly in the middle, and then just kind of work my way around. And then let it drip through. And you want to make sure you want to dump out that water that dripped through your filter. Get that's all the paper taste. And then this is just a general recipe for the pour over Kalita. I kind of formulated my own recipe from all the shops I worked at, and I start with 22 grams of coffee generally. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in 22 grams. And since we're using pre-ground coffee, it's not gonna turn out like the most optimal way of it being made, but you know what? Sometimes you just can't have your way all the time. But we're gonna make some good coffee regardless. So I'm gonna level out my bed. Well, how I do it, I just shake it like side to side, back and forth, kind of like that, in that motion. Just make sure that it's flat, so then when you pour it, the water is leveled out. And so I'm gonna go ahead and tear out my scale, because we're going to pour in about 40 grams of water. You want to cover the surface of the coffee and saturate it, kind of like double the amount of how much coffee is in there. So 20 grams of coffee, we're gonna do 40 grams of water. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I'm gonna take out a timer, because we're going to time this. The whole process should take about 2 to 3 minutes. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get our timer, and I'm gonna start as soon as I pour. So I'm gonna start my timer now. So doesn't look like it now, but generally when you do that initial pour, your coffee should bloom if it's fresh, and the bloom kind of looks like a dome shape on the top. And what the bloom allows your coffee to do is release any like carbon that's been trapped in the bean. Carbon does actually have a taste, and so you want to bloom your coffee. Make sure that give it about like 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how fresh your coffee is. The fresher it is, the longer you wait. And so I'm gonna just go ahead and pour right now and start our pour over. I'm aiming for about 320 grams of water as a total volume, but I like to pour in increments. So what I'm gonna do today is about 150 first pour, and then just allow it to drain a little bit. And then right before it goes dry, I'm gonna go ahead and resume pouring. So at 150, I'm gonna go bump it up to about 220. You wanna go into circular motions from inside a circle to outside, just to cover as much surface area as you can during this process. Just think of it as if you were just pouring at one spot, you're only going to extract that one spot, so you want to make sure you cover all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. From 220, I'm going to go to about 280, 275. And again, this is just my recipe. You know, you can play around with your own recipe. All it is really is a ratio. So you want to find like a good ratio from coffee to water. I think like 1 to 15, 1 to 17 is generally the recommended ratio. So I'm gonna go from 275 now to about 320. That's there. Sweet. And it actually looks like it's doing pretty well. We're on time. If you look at the timer, it's about to approach 3 minutes as soon as this is done. So that's actually pretty freaking good. We're actually keeping track of time because of contact time. You want to make sure the water and coffee is in contact for a certain amount of time. So like if it's too fast, it's actually under extracted. If it's too slow, if it's too slow, it's under extracted. If it's too fast, then it's over extracted. Yeah, but yeah, we're good. Oh wow, this actually did really well. I'm gonna go ahead and drain this out. Cool. Look at that cup of coffee. I'm actually gonna taste it and see how it tastes. I've never had it like this before. It's not bad. It's actually not that bad. It's like a step up from diner coffee, and like really good, better than Starbucks. Like better than its Pike's Place. This is actually like a nice clean cup. Like has like a nice like roasty, like nuttiness profile. Super chocolatey. I'm not mad at it. It's really good. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy.